Hi guys and welcome to my channel. Flight delays and cancellation affect thousands of people every year, and you know it. So in this review guys, I'm gonna explain it how to deal with flight cancellation and know how to take a refund. So be very attentive and let's start. Some delays are unavoidable or unpredictable, like the Icelandic volcano ash cloud that grounded flights a few years ago, or most recently, the BA computer crash that left many people stranded for days. However, the good news is that there are laws protecting your rights if the fault is with the airline, and the delays are significant. This could mean you are entitled to compensation. Even if you are not automatically entitled to full or partial refund, you still have the right to make a complaint if you are unhappy. So we analyzed each question.
All flights either to an EU country or from countries in the EU are covered by EU regulation known as 261/2004. This governs your right to care at the airport and compensation refunds should you experience significant delays.
You can claim for air compensation once the flight is delayed for more than 3 hours, as long as the delay wasn't under extraordinary circumstances such as weather and other circumstances completely out of the airline's control. How to calculate how much you could be owed? Flight delay compensation can be between 250 to 600 euros depending on the flight distance and delay length.
Flight distance up to 1,500 kilometers. Delay length more than 3 hours. Entitlement 250 euros. Any flight within the EU over 1,500 kilometers or any other flight between 1,500 kilometers and 3,500 kilometers. More than 3 hours delay length. Entitlement 400 euros. More than 3,500 kilometers and delay length from 3 to 4 hours is 300 euros. More than 3,500 kilometers and delay length more than 4 hours, your entitlement 600 euros.
So now we're gonna talk about the 5-hour refund rule. Once your short-haul flight, less than 932 miles, has been delayed for more than 5 hours, you are entitled to a refund if you no longer wish to travel. You will also receive a refund for any unused parts of your booking, for instance the return flight and the flight back to your departure airport if you are already completed part of your journey. Can I claim if the delayed flight has made me miss a connection? If you are bought the tickets as a part of the same booking, of course, yes.
As long as you are either departing from or flying to an EU territory with a stopover in a non-EU territory, you can get compensation for any delays that might occur, even if they happen on part of the journey that's outside the EU.
Flight cancellations. If an airline cancels your flight, they must either refund your canceled flight fee or provide an alternative flight to get to your destination.
Refund. You can get your money back for any parts of the booking you haven't used. For instance, if you have booked a return flight and the outward leg of the ticket is cancelled, you can get the total cost of the return ticket back from your airline. Alternative flight. If you still want to travel despite the cancellation, your airline must find you an alternative flight. It's up to you when to fly, either as soon as possible or at a later date that suits you. Airlines often refer to an alternative flight as a rerouted flight. Generally, airlines will book you onto another of their flights to the same destination. However, if a different airline is flying there significantly sooner, then you may have the right to be booked onto that flight instead. This can be discussed with your airline should the situation arise.
Can I book my own replacement flight if my flight is cancelled? Generally speaking, airlines should try and organize a replacement flight for you within 2 days. If they take longer, it's perfectly fine to book your own replacement flight as long as it's equivalent to the cancelled one. No upgrading to first class. Should my travel insurance or the airline pay for a cancelled flight? Generally speaking, the airline should pay out for the cancelled flight.
They are the first party you should contact. But that's not to say your travel insurance provider doesn't also have a responsibility here. If you made an effort to get into touch with your airline and they're still not coughing up, you should contact your travel insurance. They should pay out if the airline are being unfair, and shouldn't try to call the airline's bluff by also refusing to pay out.
Volcanoes and other natural disasters. Can I claim compensation? Your travel insurance may protect you against natural disasters. You should, however, double-check your policy to make sure some insurers have incorporated volcano exclusions into the policies after the 2010 eruption in Iceland. Is the airline obliged to rearrange your flight?
Airlines will normally work together to get you home when there is a natural disaster. If your outbound flight has been cancelled, however, the airline is not obliged to rearrange it.
Compensations for flight cancellations. Let's talk about this. So, if you are due to be aboard any European flight that is cancelled at any point before takeoff, you are entitled to a full refund or an alternative flight to your destination under European Union Regulation 261/2004. Any refund must be repaired within 7 days.
The rules state that if you receive less than 14 days notice of the cancellation, you may be able to claim compensation too. A recent court case between a passenger and an airline resulted in the EU court ruling that it was the airline's responsibility to contact the passenger directly to notify them their flight has been cancelled, as opposed to just contacting the travel agent. The ruling means all airlines are now responsible for directly contacting passengers and must prove that contact was made more than 14 days prior to the original departure. If this is not the case, airlines are responsible for paying compensation.
However, bear in mind that extraordinary circumstances still apply, and if the cause of the cancellation falls under this category, then the airline is not liable to pay compensation. However, they are obliged to give you a refund or alternative flight regardless of the reason for the cancellation. Can I claim on behalf of the friend or family member on the same flight as me?
These will most likely be fine as long as they've given you permission. Be aware that many airlines will pay out compensation to the name on the ticket, so you may need that person to give the airline written notice if you want compensation to be paid out differently.
Regulations and useful things to know. Which late flights qualify for compensation? UK or European flight, any flight that has a UK or European departure and arrival airport, and depending on the cost, you may be entitled to compensation.
International flight arriving into or leaving the UK, Europe. If you have an international flight that is delayed by more than 3 hours and the distance is over 3,500 kilometers, then depending on the cost of the delay, you are entitled to compensation.
In some instances, airlines are exempt for paying out compensation if the delay was caused by an extraordinary circumstances, in other words, something the airline had no control over. And let's say the examples of extraordinary circumstances include: it can be air traffic management decisions, political instability, adverse weather conditions, security risk, or strike action.
Situations which are not considered as extraordinary circumstances include most technical problems which come to light during aircraft maintenance or are caused by failure to maintain an aircraft. Collision of mobile boarding stairs with an aircraft. My flight was cancelled because of the Gatwick drone incident. What are my rights? In December 2018, passengers on flights from Gatwick were affected by an incident involving drones which grounded all flights.
In situations like this, extraordinary circumstances apply since the incident was out of the airline's control. This means that you are not due to compensation under European Union 261. You can, however, expect to be given an alternative flight or a refund for the cancelled flight. There have been a number of court rulings which have affected what is deemed an extraordinary circumstances. Extraordinary circumstances can lead to more than one cancellation or delay at the final destination.
Strikes. If you are wondering where you stand if your flight is delayed or cancelled because of strikes, look no further. Your right to compensation for flight delays and cancellations depends on the type of the strike.
If the strike is caused by staff directly in an airline's employment, you should be able to get compensation. This included pilots or air cabin crew. The amount you get will be the same as you would normally get for a delay or cancellation. If an air traffic control strike has caused a delay or cancellation, you won't be covered and won't get any compensation. This is because the strike is technically out of the airline's control. Regardless, you should expect the airline to rearrange your flight. Lots of airlines blame air traffic control for strikes, but they need to prove it if they don't offer compensation. If there is enough notice that you could expect the airline to come up with alternative plans, we feel we should be able to be covered. That is all for now, guys. I hope that you liked this review and now you know everything about cancellations and delays. But still, if you have any questions, you can always ask them in the comment section below this video. Have a great day. I hope that you have already subscribed to my channel to see more reviews. Bye bye.